So I hear voices that other people around me aren't hearing. Sometimes they come from inside my head. Sometimes they come from outside my head. Sometimes they ping off the walls. Sometimes I hear them from my organs. My name is Jeannie Bass. I'm a voice hearer. I'm also a mother. I work full-time as a certified peer specialist at a psych hospital. Conversations for me are not the same as conversations for other people. So while you're asking me questions and while I'm answering them, I'm also hearing voices telling me that I suck, that my answers are awful.
Are any of the voices saying anything about us?
A few minutes ago, started hearing your voice, like from the inside. That voice is telling me, we want to leave, you're taking up our time.
You're hearing my voice right
Yeah.
now telling you in your head that your answers are bad and that you suck.
Yeah.
So how are you able to distinguish between the voice that sounds like me that's in your head and the voice that is me that's asking you a question?
I'm using a strategy. I'm looking at your mouth and I'm watching and making sure that you're not moving your lips. That way I'm able to kind of take that information and go back and realize that I'm hearing your voice, but other people around me are not hearing your voice.
What we've been doing recently is generating words as magnetic patterns. And even though the person isn't hearing it through their ears, their brain is interpreting it. So they're actually having fragments of experiences as if they're hearing it when in actual fact it cannot be.
You know, where are these thoughts coming from? You know, where are these thoughts coming from? You know, where are these thoughts coming from?
In 2015, I began to experience what some call v2k, or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as destructive and violent. Recently, they even started adding moaning and groaning sounds to the v2k and started putting actual creaking sounds directly in the walls to make it sound as though people are having sex. And I was able to audio record these rhythmic creaking sounds and have submitted this file to the commission. These voices are vulgar, violent, cruel, and constantly threatening and using profanities that I never use. They repeat certain phrases excessively, as I learned that repetition is a form of torture in and of itself. They frequently threaten to give me cancer, a stroke, or other medical emergency. They threaten to hurt my family. They threaten to make me lose all my money. They frequently threaten to do more extreme torture, etc. The voices also frequently tell me to commit suicide, something that is simply out of the question for me. Just the threatening alone is done at extreme levels and is its own form of torture. They coordinate the voices and thought manipulation with the physical torture, so that everything is highly synchronized in real time. They can see everything in my environment before I can, and if something is hidden out of my sight, they can tell me where it is, if they want me to see it. Likewise, they can also make me not see something that is right in front of my face. At first, I thought they were real humans because of how they related to me in real time, just like a human would. But then I realized I was communicating with a very highly advanced form of artificial intelligence that is able to respond and interact faster than the speed of thought to every single thought in my mind, while synchronizing the torture in my body at the same time. The timing of it all, along with the complexity of it all, seems like more than what a human would be capable of doing on their own. I began attending nightly support conference calls with other victims of electronic assault. I quickly saw the patterns in the way many people are targeted, including myself.
Anything to do with reading your brain. But of course it goes further. So in this one, they said, can they understand the inner monologue, the things you're saying to yourself in your own mind? Mind you, by the way, when you dream, like your visual cortex runs in reverse, so your dreams are no longer safe. But we'll try this. So they had people watch a video and just narrate what was going on in the video in their mind. So there's a woman, she gets hit in the back, she falls over. This is what the computer reconstructed the person thinking. See a girl, looks just like me, get hit in the back, and then she is knocked off. So our thoughts are starting to be decoded. Yeah. Just think about what this means for authoritarian states, for instance. Or if you want to generate images that maximally activate your pleasure sensor, anything else. Okay, but let's keep going, right? To really get the sense of the combinatorics of this. How about, can we go from Wi-Fi radio signals, sort of like the Wi-Fi routers in your house, they're bouncing off radio signals that work sort of like sonar. Can you go from that to where human beings are to images? So what they did is they had a camera looking at a space with people in it. That's sort of like coming in from one eye. The other eye is the radio signals, so sonar from the Wi-Fi router. And they just learned to predict, this is where the human beings are. Then they took away the camera. So all the AI had was the language of radio signals bouncing around a room. And this is what they're able to reconstruct. Real-time 3D pose estimation, right? So suddenly AI has turned every Wi-Fi router into a camera that can work in the dark, specially tuned for tracking living beings.
So, Len, when you went to West Virginia and you went to this place that had no connection to any cell towers, there was no phone signal anywhere, and you had this attack, what specifically happened to you? What can you walk me through how these attacks, how they affect you, what happens, how long they last, etc.?
Just like I said before, it starts very suddenly. It's vibration. It's high pressure in the head, and your whole body vibrates. Deafening sound. You get disoriented.
Your whole body vibrates.
Can you describe the sound that you hear? Is it like someone in the cartoons hitting a pot around your head?
It's like high pitch electronic tinnitus.
Okay. Yeah.
Like tinnitus.
Yeah, tinnitus.
But suddenly on, suddenly off.
Suddenly on, suddenly off.
Yeah.
And it just grabs you, and you also hear voices.
Yeah.
Voices, v2k is a part of it. In Havana syndrome, I sent you that clip. The very first reporting by CNN, they said that people hear noises and voices. Mm-hmm. And after that, there was it was not part of any reporting. But the very first report on CNN contained that information. So, people think that hearing voices is a sign of psychiatric disorder, right. But it just takes a little bit of education to understand this Frey effect, this microwave hearing has been around for a long time, has been known, and voice modulation has been demonstrated in the 70s. There's published literature about it, that you can modulate the signal and it produces.
And what specific voices? What do the voices say?
All the derogatory stuff that I don't want to acknowledge it, don't want to give it credence, but it's my family.
Your family's
my
voice.
Family. They live in Germany. They speak Russian and German. I speak Russian, bad Russian now, and English. So all my v2k is in Russian.
What?
It is, yes.
It's multilingual.
It's my mother, my father, my brother, and his wife. And they all talk about my lifestyle choices, everything derogatory. And I know it's not them, it's artificial intelligence, because nobody talks 24/7, because my v2k is 24/7. I sleep in noise canceling headphones, and I play voice audiobooks nonstop, so my brain would concentrate on that rather than on what's being projected into my brain.
Does it help at all? What helps? What helps you cope with this the most? What have you done? What have you tried?
Distracting. Sometimes I have to use my own voice. I have to talk to somebody. The second it stops, the second the silence begins, the voices come back. And they also use something like if you have some kind of white noise like a fan or a AC,
Yeah.
it rides on it. It piggybacks on those frequencies.
That's
Psychiatry in all of this time doesn't have one case report of one disease validated, not one. What they do is they meet at the American Psychiatric Association. They meet in the DSM committee, Diagnostic Statistical Manual Committee, and they vote on making new behavioral and emotional disorders. And they vote, and then they start immediately calling them diseases. And they tell people, they tell the public these are diseases. Total fraud. Total fraud.
When I worked for the drug industry, science was completely abandoned. These drug companies that I was interviewing with had no problem telling me, look, we design drugs based on treating symptoms. We don't cure. So that's a business model, okay, that allows you to give a drug to a person for life. They ran out of symptoms to treat. So what did they have to do? The next level of drug advertising is inventing disease. When you run out of symptoms, you don't have any more clientele to market to. So you have to invent disease. And with psychiatric medications, you can invent diseases all day long. I wondered, as a chemist, I'm making these drugs, they're proving deadly in our labs, and they're proving deadly in other labs, dangerous, ineffective, causing the exact same thing they're supposed to treat. How are they selling them? How are they selling them? And they have the marketing department. Big Pharma has the best marketing department in the world. Geniuses. You simply pay professionals, doctors, professors, psychiatrists, to report that the study showed positive results. You're paying them. You're buying science, checkbook science. Hypnotize the masses. Hypnotize them and drug them and get them into their psychiatrist so they can swallow the next Cymbalta or the next Prozac or whatever they're going to package it as and name it as. You have a $1 billion industry making a lot of people sick and profiting on it.